Hi and welcome back to Chai with Shay. I have my kahwa today. Grab your chai and maybe we'll sit for 20 minutes to half an hour and talk about what's going on in my mind. So before I started recording this, I actually posted just half an hour back on This Is Chicas Only about how I was not feeling good today and I was feeling a bit of sadness. And it is sunny and nice outside, so I decided to take care of myself and take myself out for a walk and then head to a cafe, which I think I will still do. But as I was walking around in my sadness, some things just clicked, and there were a couple of different ideas, I think, in my mind going around, and as it always happens. And I had this new idea, and I was like, I need to plant this seed out there. I don't know what it is going to turn into, and there are other things right now I clearly should be focusing on, but this feels huge. This, you know that feeling when something in your heart feels like this. This is new. This is different. This is good. This makes sense based on everything that we have been talking about. So I had one of those moments and I was thinking, oh, I need to write it down, or I need to do something, or maybe I should still go to a cafe. And I remembered that I have not done a chai in a long time. So let's have some chai, shall we? So I recently went back on LinkedIn, and I think I deactivated my account. I've been away from corporate since 2023 June now. I decided to travel. I don't think I had planned to never return, but there was this idea in my brain that I'm ready. I'm ready to take that leap. Something told me that this is it. This is now or never kind of moment. And oh my God, so many things happened since then. But it just kind of felt like life was getting me ready to face, or getting me ready for the world that we are living in now, for the role that I'm supposed to be playing. And again, this is something that I have chosen, that this is what I want to dedicate my life to, because life is short, life is valuable, and a lot of people lately have been, I think, feeling this as well, that we are just, how do I even explain this feeling? We have gotten so away from ourselves, from who we are, and in progressing the humanity and the technology and AI and all. I won't get into all of that right now. But I can see why we get into that, because I was in that, corporate ladder, the blueprint that society gives us, and you follow that blueprint and you think that as long as you're going to do this and do what everyone else around you is doing, then you're set. Then this is how to live your life. And I have been there too, so I totally feel that. And in some ways, it's not always possible to really think a bit differently, or think more about yourselves, or think about what you really want from your life, or what you think is actually good for the people you care about, for the world around you, for your world. And it's just the design, it's the system by design, so I understand. Anyway, so I went back on LinkedIn after 6 months of deactivating it. After I quit and after in my travels, I did go back and forth, but at one point I realized I have to really cut it off, like cold turkey. And that's a pattern that I have noticed in my life. I have to go to the extreme, sometimes to learn a lesson. Or sometimes to feel it exactly, what does it mean to get at that stage and then take the lessons. And because I'm so reflective, I always go to the extreme, see like, no, not here, then go to the other extreme, because I have lived my life in black and white. And how I have then now I have learned to kind of, hold nuance, understand that we have like these 50 shades of gray here. So, but at the same time, in order for me to break the patterning, the old conditioning that was in my brain, sometimes I found it helpful to really go cold turkey, and then to reevaluate, like, what is it really that I want? And then, go to the first principles. What is the basic need? For example, as a product manager, when you work with companies, you get to the user needs, you have user stories. Like, all of this is there because of a reason, because all the companies exist to serve other humans. It is a business of humans doing business with other humans at the end of the day. So that's why the user needs. And then, okay, we can talk about where are those needs really coming from? Is it to increase the profit of certain users, or is it actually to serve the needs of what the business is claiming to do? Something to think about. So in the meantime, after being away from, I took a break from Instagram, from social media, from LinkedIn, from corporate, from every single thing that I kind of needed to reevaluate. And I asked myself, okay, what is my need for this technology? But I don't go to the technology and then ask myself, okay, now how do I use it? It's more, of course, you can see what other people are doing and then try to understand the culture of that space. Like, for example, if this is posted on YouTube, what happens on YouTube? You understand what this space is really being used for, and then you're like, do I have a need for that in my life? I kind of did the whole bottom-up approach with my life. And what I found out with LinkedIn was, okay, yeah, this is still, I have done this in my past life. This is something I care about. And I don't know exactly right now what this platform is going to yield for me, but I would not know unless I go into that space and I start interacting in that space. I start talking to other people in that space and just try to understand, okay, what is this Zoom going to help me with? And then ask myself, where do we meet in the middle? So I went back on LinkedIn. So sometime in January, I said to myself and posted on Instagram that when I get over my fear of being seen fully, I will go back to LinkedIn. I had no idea what that would look like going back. Like, do I just install it again and just to be an outsider and look at all of those AI generated content and be like, what is this place? Or what does that really look like? I didn't know, but I just knew that I would know when the time is right for me to go back. And then I knew it. There was one day where I was like, I want to install LinkedIn again. And I did. And then just a few days back, I had this feeling, I was just updating my summary. And then something told me to take that summary and post it on the feed, because what I was trying to work on was my fear of being seen. And if I'm just going to post it on my summary, that is not me working on my fear of being seen. That is still me hiding. And to add to that, this year, my word of the year was love. Then every quarter, I give myself a word of the quarter. And I give this word to myself kind of to hold, to remind myself of, if I'm being lost, what do I look for? What am I, day by day, what do I need more of? So this year, I knew that I needed more of love for myself. Last year, my word was home, to find a home within myself. That's why towards the end of the year, and it was magical the way it happened, I just somehow from within me, I had this feeling that I need to start building a safe space for myself, and then slowly increase that safe space to include other people, and then build different safe spaces for different needs of mine. And I understood what that meant was me finally finding a home within myself and knowing how to give context to that home, how to make it something more tangible, because home was so vague. And I wanted to, say that this is what I have done. I have built a home for myself. And what that home is, at the end of the day, it's my inner world and my outer world combined. So this year was love, because I was looking for love, self-love, and then also community love, love for my work, love for my desires, love for my friendships, love for my parents, love for things I care about and I want to spend my time with, time on. And then every quarter, because I give a word for my reflection cycle mostly, the big reflection cycle. So the year is this one big reflection cycle. And then the quarters, 90 days, because that's a good time for me to commit to a few projects and show up, plan tasks and show up to complete it. And then at the end of the 90 days, I reevaluate, like, okay, what do I need now? And this is obviously in line with the seasons of the year, the circadian rhythm. And so it works for me to keep it 90 days. So first quarter of the year was patience, because I just knew that this year was going to be something new, something different, and I still don't know exactly what's going to unfold in the rest of the year. We never know. It's the unknown, and it's okay. We need to learn the art of flowing with the unknown. So first quarter, I knew I just needed more patience. And that's what it was, a lot of trusting myself, sitting down with myself, writing whenever I could. I isolated during that time as well. And then the second quarter, I felt like I needed more courage, because now was the time to act. Now was the time to do, or now was the time to do hard things. So when I decided to go back and post that thing on LinkedIn to get over my fear of being seen, and I had this word in my mind that this is asking me to show courage. And once the thought comes and you know this is the value that you have to follow, it's like if you don't do it now, you are going against yourself. You are going against what you said you would be doing. So it becomes a kind of like, do I betray myself, or do I go and do this very scary thing? Is this the level of courage that I have to show right now? Or can I just cheat for a bit and just post it as summary and call it a day? But I always believe, like, if the thought has come to you and you have it in front of you, that this is your value, this is your word of the quarter, word of the year, and this is an intention that you had set for yourself, that I am going to get over my fear of being seen fully. So these are in front of you, your intention, your values, your words, and now you have to act. So I did that. It was very scary. I was shivering. My legs were shivering. And it should not be scary. It's just a technology, a tool, a space on bits and bytes, ones and zeros on the internet, where people like me gather. And these are the same people I've met on travels. These are the same people who live next to us. What was I scared of? I think the scary part is also how sometimes these platforms, especially on LinkedIn, they talk about topics that feel so out of reach. Like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, it already creates this feeling of the other. Even, I have been away from corporate for 2 years, and things have changed so rapidly. And, I'm forming my own opinion. I went cold turkey with AI as well. I'm going to figure out my needs and the needs of the people around me, needs of the world, and in my capacity, whatever I can do, because I know I can do a lot of things. I have a master's in computer science. I can understand technology very well, and I can be a great bridge of explaining what is happening to people, because one, I'm already very empathetic. It's a born skill I have, but at the same time, I have traveled and I've interacted with so many people in so many different cultures. So I, in some ways, also understand the need of the people around me, of the communities around me, of the world around me. And that is a very powerful skill. And that's why I want all of my chicas who have left corporate, but or whatever skills you have, it doesn't have to be tech. You might have been a doctor, you might have been whatever you were studying or whatever you were obsessed about, whatever you dedicated any of your time to, or whatever you are curious about now, and the quality of that we have, that we already connect so deeply with others, it is so powerful in times like this, because a world exactly needs this. We need people like us who can be the bridge between these two worlds. And that's how we can form a lot of different solutions that are much needed in today's age. So, coming back to LinkedIn, by the founder of LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn co-founder. I'm going to read something from this book because it challenged my thinking in a way. So LinkedIn as a tool, I feel like everyone who is going to be listening to this already knows of LinkedIn. But if you don't know, LinkedIn is a space where mostly professionals go and network. You can apply for jobs. You can share most of the people also, you share your career updates, what you're working on, your wins at work. I mean, that is the actual use case. I know what is it now being used for, and that is just really unfortunate because it has so much potential. So it's a great tool. So I remember in second year of my university, we had to do those capstone projects. I don't know what were they called, in-house internship or something. So you have to do 2 or 3 months. You do something. You either work for someone and you build something with them, or you build a project during the summer. So I decided to go back to Kashmir at that time, and I remember most of the time sitting in my room upstairs, and my dad would come once in a while and get me cut fruits. I love you, Dad. And I was learning PHP. I was learning from YouTube tutorials, and I created this website, which was somewhat built on the same idea. I don't know, was I inspired, or was it just something because I actually did see a need? So I was in CSE2, the second year, second class. Anyway. And often when the teachers would teach something, education has changed so much since then, and it may not be exactly the same right now, but back then I felt this need. Sometimes there would be documents to share the documents with other people, or we would often get a lot of documents from the seniors from the year before us, and we would, they would give us a Google Drive of all the documents, assignments, or whatever, and then you would keep it, or you would share it with each other. Anyway, I had this idea during that summer. It would be nice to create a file sharing system. I think the year was 2012. And it was nice. I created different first year, second year, third year, fourth year, different departments of engineering, and it's so cute to think about it now. And also created a chat function over there. It was just me having a lot of fun with my creativity and excited about learning something. And also got some of my friends to try it out, and it was cute. And it had a login function. I know it doesn't sound a lot now, but back then for me it was a big deal. Because I figured out the needs, and I figured out the features, and I put it out there, and I built it myself. It just felt like I was so proud of myself. And then I wrote a report explaining all of that. Anyway, because I had that, and I remember just after that, this was my second year of university, I got to know about LinkedIn, and I actually started posting my things on LinkedIn, like what I was working on, what I was doing, and I was like, oh, it's very similar to what I had done, but much more advanced, because it was much more advanced. But I really liked that platform, and I started building my platform, my profile quite early, I think second year of university. And anyway, I had a good relationship with LinkedIn, I want to say, because I was really career driven, and that was something I wanted to focus on. I did not think at any time I would be on Instagram. That did not happen until much later in life. So when I say much later in life, just like I would say 8-9 years after. Um, so I know there's a lot of potential to this platform, to this space that has been created, um, for the purpose of people, for the purpose of connecting people who have similar interests, or to talk about technology, to talk about, how can we get together? It's basically all the intellectuals coming together, I mean, ideally, and then discussing, hey, do you want to work on this, let's do that, how can we actually make world a better place? And I do not say this in the same way as Silicon Valley, and I know it does sound very similar, and I'm tired of it too. But I have a plan, and I have a vision for the future, and that's the seed I want to plant. So the author has written something that when I was reading, I was like, oh, this is a very different way of thinking that in the world right now I'm not seeing right now. So when I started building my business and the movements, and then right now I'm doing the La Casa, building my community, La Casa de Sahelian. And after this whole betrayal of tech, and then realizing, oh my God, I hate technology, I had that phase. I kind of developed this aversion to the word scaling. Because, you have a startup, you want to build a startup, you go and you get investment. And then the whole point becomes how to make the investors more rich. So you focus on, doing the things that are going to get you a lot more profit, because now there's like so many other people involved. So as long, yes, maybe you can balance it out with people and profit, and people should always come over profit, while also making sure you are sustainable and you can sustainably run the business. But we all know that's not happening lately, especially in the tech world, the startup world right now. It's all about like, what's the next big unicorn? Like, which startup will get us to here and there? And so when I did my own thing, I was kind of stubborn about not scaling and doing things that are like, even right now with La Casa de Sahelia, I know for a good reason I want it to continue being small, because once it gets to a point where I'm starting to think about how to get more people, I'm losing the connection. Yes, there's a way to do that while staying true to your values, but actually the need for community, the reason I'm building this community, I want it to be more of a connection of micro communities. And right now it is very important for me to start small, because I am still evaluating what my values are, what my desires are and needs are. At the same time, what do I want this community to do for others as well? And where can I fulfill their needs, their desires? How can this community help them be better in, or, be more content in life, help them get where they want to be, more creative, have a sense of community and belonging with each other. And for that, I really need to make sure that I start small. We'll see how the future unfolds. So scale, and also the other reason being, when you're focusing on everyone, you're not talking to anyone. We all know that. Especially on places like social media, if you're trying to go for getting viral, trying to get to a million people, you have to really, you have to talk about your idea in a way that almost makes it comical, so people share it. Of course, there are good ideas to get viral, but you can't really predict that. It's just, there's a code to get viral, but the purpose becomes more about how to get more views, how to get, again, it's a form metric, it's not the real metric, it's not helping the person. So instead, the focus should be, if my content out there helps even one person, I have done today I helped one person in whatever ABC, that's a win. And then you can slowly figure out, okay, what can I talk about so passionately? What do I care about? What changes do I want to make in the world? And then figure out who those people are and start talking to them. And that's why with social media, I feel there is a nuance in this idea of scaling and going for the views versus going for, talking what is true for you and not letting yourself censor your self-expression. But I read this, so I'm going to say it out loud. Each of us, in our own way, aspires to make an impact, especially on the people closest to us, our families, friends, and colleagues. Some of us set our sights higher, hoping our ideas would spread beyond our immediate networks, touching our communities, affecting even those people we may never meet personally. And a few of us dream even bigger. We dream of changing the world, of doing something never done before, or at least not in this particular way, of disrupting old models and building new ones, of having our vision for business and social change achieve the kind of rapid growth that becomes self-perpetuating. We dream of reaching scale. And this, I read it, and I just let this idea percolate, marinate in my brain. And today, while being in my sadness and thinking about some other things that have been going on in my brain, I am trying to get more familiar with the AI world and where my needs are and how I can use AI judiciously and very carefully in, okay, this need can be resolved by AI, but not just because it exists out there doesn't mean I need to use it in that ABC way. That's a separate topic for some other day. So all of these ideas were in my brain. And I realized there is actually one reason for which I would want to go for scale. Still starting small, but when it comes to my community, I think the idea of scale for me is more I impact one person and that person impacts 5 more people in their life and they impact 5 more people in their life. Like that's the idea of scale I want to go for, at least in the community I'm building, like ripple effect. But because now there are tools and technologies, there are resources available for us. And whether we want it or not, these resources are going to be used by people. Maybe for good, maybe for bad. So if I have a vision, and if I know that something in my brain that, idea right now can help people, can help 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, I don't know, scale over time. And there are resources available right now which allows you to get to scale without compromising your values. Why not? And this is, again, I don't have the answers, but it doesn't mean just because I don't have the answers, I should not start. If you have to run a race, if you run a marathon, I don't know why I started with that. But you take one step at a time, I would never run a marathon. I'm not a runner. Who am I to give examples of running? You will never find me running, except for running from place to place, not like on the road. But you take one step at a time, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one step at a time and figure it out along the way. I have the vision, and it's good to have the overarching vision, like what is the actual need I want to resolve. And I think I kind of figured that out for myself. And I don't know if I want to talk about it right now. I feel like I need to give it more time in my brain to really become something more before I say it out loud. Maybe next time. But coming back to the community, it's getting ready. And by getting ready, I mean I have written a lot on paper. These are my plans, okay? Take it. But my plan is to go to a cafe and make it a reality today. I have done this a lot of times. I've had an idea and I have created a landing page, created a platform to host the courses, created the payment plugins and attached it all and then published it on Instagram, LinkedIn, Instagram, social media, wherever, and then also did the emails. I have done this in the past in my super productive stage, and now that I am so clear on my vision, I am not going to overpromise that I'm going to do it by tomorrow, but being true to, my capacity and my energy today, I know what to do. I just need to start doing it. So that's what I'm going to focus on for the rest of the day. And I gave my mic an upgrade. It's basically just the comb, my mic, and the flower which is I put on my hair. It's really cute. I found this one I found here in Medellin, but it goes with my feeling, what I'm feeling right now. And I have different flowers of different colors. We'll see if I don't think they will look as nice as this red one. We'll keep it like that. Anyway, that was all for chai today. I'm still not done, but thank you for spending your time with me, and sit with these ideas. Let me know on Instagram, email, wherever you're watching, wherever you got this link from, on any of the ideas I shared. And yeah, we'll talk again soon. Ciao.